Hello, and welcome to another episode of Healing Through the Bhagavad Gita. This is not a religious lecture, nor is it a discourse on God. Here we shall read and listen to an ancient text which is hailed by the luminaries as a fountain of wisdom. The enlightened few say that the Bhagavad Gita has multiple layers, and a new facet becomes evident every time it is picked up. However, my reasons for reading the Bhagavad Gita are simple, rather selfish. This book helped me overcome my grief, and I know it will do the same for you. Listening to the Bhagavad Gita's verses helps conquer depression as its sonic vibrations release a happy hormone called serotonin in our brains. The verses of the Bhagavad Gita are in Sanskrit, and I understand that, like myself, many of you might also be limited in their knowledge of this ancient language. Therefore, I shall translate each verse in English as well. Even if you don't fully understand the Bhagavad Gita, just try to listen to these verses, if possible with your eyes closed. They will definitely help you. We now resume from Adhyay 1, Shlok 45. Yadi mam pratikaram shastram shastrapanayah dhartarashtrarane hanyustanme kshemataram bhavet. Better for me if the sons of Dhritarashtra, weapons in hand, were to kill me unarmed and unresisting on the battlefield. Sanjay Uvach Eva Muktvarjunah Sankhye Rathopasth Upavishat Visrijya Sansharam Chapam Shok Samvigna Manasah. Sanjay said, Arjun, having thus spoken on the battlefield, cast aside his bow and arrows and sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief. Adhyay 2, Shlok 1. Sanjay Uvach Tam tatha kripaya vishtam ashrupurna kulekshanam Vishidantamidam vakyamuvach Madhusudanah. Sanjay said, seeing Arjun full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudan Krishna spoke the following words. Shri Bhagwan Uvach Kutastva Kashmalamidam Vishame Samupasthitam Anarya Jushtam Aswargayam Kirtikaram Arjun. Lord Krishna said, My dear Arjun, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to ascent, but to infamy. Klaibyam masma gamaha parth naitatvayu papadyate Kshudram hriday dorbalyam tyaktavottisht parantap. O son of Pritha, do not yield to this degrading impotence. It is not becoming of you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy. Arjunavach Katham Bhishma Maham Sankhye Dronam Cha Madhusudan Ishubhi Pratiyotsyami Pujar Havarisudan. Arjun said, O slayer of enemies, O destroyer of Madhu, how can I counterattack with arrows in battle men like Bhishma and Drona who are worthy of my worship? Guru Nahatva hi Mahanubhavan Shreyo Bhoktum Bhaikshyamapiha Loke Hatvarth Kamanstu Guru Nihaiva Bhunjiya Bhogan Rudhir Pradigthan. It would be better to live in this world like a beggar than to live at the cost of the lives of those great souls who are my teachers. Even though desiring worldly gains, they are superiors. If they are killed, everything we enjoy later will be tainted with their blood. Nachait tviyah kataranno gariyo yadva jayem yadivano jayeyu yanev hatva na jijivisham ste avastita pramukhe dhartarashtra. Nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. If we kill the sons of Dhritarashtra, we should not care to live either. Yet they are now standing before us on the battlefield. Karyapanya dosho pahat swabhavah pritchami tvam dharma sammudchetah yachreyah syanishchitam bruhi tanme शिष्यस्ते aham shadhi mam tvam prapannam. Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of this miserly weakness. In this condition I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me, O Saviour. Nahi prapashyami mamapanudyad yacho kamucho ashanamindriyanam avapya bhuma vasapatna amriddham rajyam suranamapi chadhipatyam. I can find no means to drive away this grief which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to dispel it even if I win a prosperous, unrivaled kingdom on earth with sovereignty like the demigods in heaven. Sanjay Uvach Evamukta Rishikesham Gudakeshah Parantapah Nayotsya iti Govindamukta Tushnim Babhuvaha. Sanjay said, having thus spoken, Arjun, chastiser of enemies, told Krishna, Govind, I shall not fight, and fell silent. Tamuvach Rishikeshah prasanniv Bharat Senayorubhayor madhe vishidantamidam vachah. O descendant of Bharat, at that time Krishna, smiling in the midst of both the armies, spoke the following words to the grief-stricken Arjun. Shri Bhagwan Uvach Ashocya nanva shocastvam pragyavadanshcha bhashase gatasoonscha nanushocanti pandita. Lord Krishna said, while speaking learned words, O Arjun, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. Natve vaham jatu nasam natvam neme janadhipaha nachaiva na bhavishyamaha sarve vayamataha param. Understand that never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. Dehino asminyatha, dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara, tatha dehantar praptirthiras tatra na muhyati. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from childhood to youth and then to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A rational person is not bewildered by such a change. Matra sparshastu konteya, shitoshna sukha dukhda, agama payino anityastan, asti tikshasva Bharat. O son of Kunti, the transient appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from the sense of perception, O scion of Bharat, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. Yam hi na vyathayante te purusham purusharshab, sam dukha sukham dhiram, so amrit tatvai kalpate. O greatest among all men Arjun, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation. Na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate satah, ubhayorapi drishto antastvan ayostatva darshibhi. Those who are enlightened have concluded that of the non-existent, that is the material body, there is no endurance, and of the eternal, that is the soul, there is no change. This the seers have concluded by studying the nature of both. Avinashi tu tadvidhi, yena sarvamidam tatam, vinashamavya yasyasya na kaschit kartumarhati. That which pervades the entire body you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul. Antvant ime deha nityasyoktaha sharirinaha anashino aprameyasya tasmadyudhyasva bharat. The material body of the indestructible, immeasurable, and eternal living entity is sure to come to an end. Therefore, fight, O descendant of Bharat. Ya enam vetti hantaram, yaschainam manyate hatam. Ubhau tau na vijanito, nayam hanti na hanyate. Neither he who thinks the living entity can slay, nor he who thinks it can be slain is knowledgeable, for the self slays not, nor is slain. Na jayate mriyate va kadachinnayam, bhutva bhavita vana bhuyah, ajo nityah shashvato ayam purano, na hanyate hanyamane sharire. For the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. It has not come into being in the past, is not coming into being in the present, and will never come into being in the future. It is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. It is not slain when the body is slain. Veda vinashinam nityam ya, ena maj amavyayam. Katham sa purushah parth, kam ghatayati hantikam. O Parth, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya, navani grihnati naro aparani. Tatha sharirani vihai jirna, nyanyani sanyati navani dehi. As a person puts on new garments, disposing of the old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and worn out. Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavakaha, na chainyam Kledayantyapo na shoshayati marutaha. The soul can never be macerated by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. Achedyo, ayam dahyo, ayam kledyo, ashoshya eva cha. Nityah sarvagataha, sthanu rachalo ayam, sanatanah. This individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble, and can neither be burned nor dried. It is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. Avyakto ayam chintyo, ayam vikarayo, ayam muchyate, tasmadevam viditvainam nanushochitumarhasi. It is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body. Ath chainam nityajatam nityam va manyase mritam tathapi tvam mahabaho nainam shochitumarhasi. If, however, you still think that the soul will always be born and will die forever, you still have no reason to grieve, O mighty armed. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityurdhruvam janma mritasya cha tasmad pariharye arthe natvam shochitumarhasi. The one who has taken birth is sure to die, and after death one is sure to be born again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not grieve. Avyaktadini bhutani vyaktamadhyani bharat avyakta nidhananyeva tatra ka paridevana. All creatures are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and again unmanifest when annihilated. So where is the need for grief and lamentation? Ashcharyavat pashyati kaschiden mascharya vadvadati tathaiva chanyah आश्चर्य वच्चैनमन्यः शृणोति श्रुत्वाप्येनं वेद न चैव कश्चित्. Some look upon the soul as amazing, others describe it as amazing, and some hear of it as amazing, while others, even after hearing about it, do not understand it at all. Dehi nityam vadhyo ayam dehe sarvasya bharat tasmat sarvani bhutani natvam shochitumarhasi. O descendant of Bharat, the one who dwells in the body can never be slain. Therefore you need not grieve for any living creature. Swadharmamapi chavekshya na vikampitumarhasi dharmyadhi yuddhachreyo anyat kshatriyasya na vidyate. In view of your specific duty as a Kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on your principles, and so there is no need for hesitation. Yadrichaya chopapannam swargadwaram pavritam sukhinah kshatriya parth labhante yuddhamidrisham. Hey Parth, fortunate are the Kshatriyas to whom such fighting opportunities come unsought, opening for them the doors of the heavens. Ath chetvamimam dharmyam sangramam na karishyasi tatah swadharmam kirtim cha hitva papamavapsyasi. If, however, you do not partake in this battle, then you will certainly incur sins for neglecting your duties and thus lose your reputation as a warrior. Akirtim chapi bhutani kathishyanti te avyayam sambhavitasya chakirtiram ranadatirichyate. People will always ridicule you, and for a respectable person, Dishonor is worse than death. Bhayadrana duparatam mansyante tvam maharatha yesham cha tvam bahumato bhutva yasyasi laghavam. The great generals who hold you in the highest esteem will think that you have left the battlefield out of fear, and thus they will consider you insignificant. Avachya vadanshchu bahun vadishyanti tavahitaha nindan tastav samarthyam tato dukhtaram nukim. Your enemies will ridicule you and scorn your abilities. What could be more painful for you? End of episode. We shall continue our transcendental journey through the Bhagavad Gita in the next episode. Until we meet again.